Madden's already into the act. Micah Parsons, he's in franchise mode, doing the Lambeau leap, firing up the Green Bay Packers. He's the first guy with 4 seasons to start his career with 12 and a half more sacks each year. And he got 12 and a half last year, even though he missed 5 games with a high ankle sprain. First guy to do that since Reggie White. Reggie White, the first big free agent of the salary cap era. Guy who could not be franchise tagged because he was one of the named plaintiffs in the lawsuit that sparked the current system. So he was able to go anywhere he wanted to go. Micah Parsons lands in Green Bay. And this is a new day, a new dawn for the Packers. Ed Policy, who's now in charge of that team, he's doing something that I don't think Mark Murphy or his predecessor would have done. I don't think that this is a rare move. I remember late in Brett Favre's career, he was grousing about how rarely they go out and get veteran talent. They are draft and develop, get those lottery tickets, keep those lottery tickets, the ones that work out, and don't spend a lot of money on strangers to the organization because you're giving up draft capital. First of all, you're giving up a significant amount of cap space, and you're giving up draft capital that is those lottery tickets. They could be cheap players who become the nucleus and really the backbone of your team. So of all the teams in the NFL to do this, the Packers are the one that make you say, wow, because it's different from what we've seen from the Packers for a very long time.
Yeah, I'm with you, Mike. And they've something has come over the Packers. And it might be policy being in place. Maybe it's, Brian Gutekunst, the general manager, and Matt LaFleur feeling like they got to do something else. I mean, this team won 11 games last year in the best division in football, with all those playoff teams in there, Detroit, Green Bay, and Minnesota. But they weren't great in the division, and in the playoffs, they were fine. They were fine against the Eagles, but they didn't have that extra oomph. And so, and they spent in free agency before getting Micah Parsons. They drafted a receiver in the first round for the first time in 20 years, and now they go out and not only acquire Parsons, but pay him the highest contract of any non-quarterback in football. So I like what they're doing. And you know what, Mike? Maybe the Cowboys can learn from the Packers in the sense that they draft well. The Packers draft well. They usually don't, as you said, they usually don't go out and spend a lot in free agency. They have a lot of hits in the second round, third round. They got a bunch of receivers who are good. Jaden Reed and Romeo Dobbs. They've done a good job. And I think at some point you look at it and say, it's nice to draft well, but it's also good to infuse those good draft picks with some stars, with like a superstar. And so I think they look at their foundation and say, our foundation is good. What we lack is an elite superstar. I'm going to go get them, and we'll give up a couple of draft picks because the star is worth it.
Oh, absolutely. And that was one of the flaws with the Packers in the past. And I've made the case, or at least tried to make the case, that because the Packers don't have a traditional owner, you don't have that person who is going to give you the impetus to do something different from what you ordinarily do. Who's the one that's going to stick their neck out? Who's going to burn up internal political capital to row against the stream of the organization? Because the stream has been slow and steady, draft and develop, no sudden moves. We are good enough every year. We're making a ton of money. You don't have that one person who is this life force, this massive personality that is, I want to get to the top of the mountain, make this move, let's do it. Like I could see Packers executives sitting around looking at each other saying, who's the one that's going to go to the board and make the case for the Micah Parsons trade? Well, I'm not going to do it. Well, hell, I'm not going to do it. I got a mortgage. Like, I don't want to get fired. I don't want to be viewed differently because I'm the crackpot that went in there with this plan to go all in. When you have an owner, the owner's the crackpot. The owner's the one, and sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad. But they've lacked that. They have it now in Ed Policy, and it really makes you wonder. Like, if I'm Matt LaFleur or Brian Gutekunst, and Ed Policy has already said, we're not going to do extensions for these guys until after the season. Well, after the season, they'll be entering their lame duck years. So they're going to get extensions or they're going to get pink slips. And if I'm those guys and I look at this and I say, man, we're really doing things differently here. That's great. Oh, man, we're really doing things differently here. That may not be great for me. And this may be a sign that there's a new sheriff in town, and his name isn't Reggie Hammond, it's Ed Policy.
First of all, okay, we should probably stop the show right there. That is brilliant. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the Reggie Hammond line. You know what? Your work is done here. Your work is done.
All right, I'll go. Jason will be here in a few minutes. You can take it the rest of the way.
I don't know if you could top that one. But I think that the new sheriff in town in Green Bay is looking for, it's obvious. You give up 2 first-round picks, Mike, and a player, and you bring in Micah Parsons, and you give him that kind of contract. You are looking for that Reggie White effect. We all know what Reggie White did for the Packers. Everybody knows. You know who else knows? Either Micah or Micah's social media team, because did you see this post he put out yesterday? Hey, thank you, Dallas. And the first part, he's got the Cowboys and the Cowboys draft Micah Parsons and his highlights with them. And then he goes to the footage where we see Reggie White wreaking havoc like he always did on the field for the Packers, and Micah putting himself in that tradition. So he understands the lineage. He understands the legacy of Reggie, what Reggie White did and what he's expected to do. I think that's the charge for the Packers. It's not go to the playoffs. They've done that many times. They've got a really good winning percentage in Matt LaFleur's tenure there and Gutekunst, but it's got to be more than that. We're trying to be one of the elite teams in football, not just one of the 7 who makes the playoffs.
This really is a great video that they put together. And Micah Parsons taking the high road on the way out. He had a lengthy item that he posted on social media not long after the news broke at the trade. Not long after Michael Irvin was on ESPN saying, I guarantee you he's not going to be traded. Jerry's not that crazy. Yes, he is.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.